Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're having a fantastic week. I just had a training with my photo team and I wanted to share with you all some of the things that I was going through with them that might be helpful to your team too. So I'm gonna do this in two parts. I'm gonna start with the why, the reason behind having a photo team at your church and what the purpose is for that. And then part two will be another video coming very soon about the basics and kind of some of the tools and tricks that might help your team. But today, let's start with the why. It's really important for any of your teams at your church to understand the why behind the things that they're doing. Because if they don't understand the why, if they don't understand what their purpose is, they're just there to do a task, and everything is different when it's just a task. But if you can make the task a part of worship and it's a worshipful act for them, then they can understand what they're doing as a global sense and they can really dive in and they'll bring their best, because then it's not about doing the task, it's about serving Jesus with the gifts that they've been given. So this first section is kind of about the purpose of your photo team. And the purpose of your team is to capture the story of your church. And just remember, this story is not to make your church famous, but it's to show in your outpost of the kingdom what Jesus is doing there. And it's to make him famous all the time. That's what this is all about. But the story of your church is important to capture. You want people to see the joy, the love, everything that is going on in your church. So I broke this story down into three parts. Part one is the community of your church. You want to capture the community of your church, the interactions that are going on, the love that is between the people that are there, and show that people love each other and that people are having fun together, and the church isn't just necessarily this boring, antiquated place, but that people are coming together and having a real community together. And that's part one. The first thing you want to capture is the community of your church. Secondly, the transformation that is happening at your church. This is important. People want to see the transformation that Jesus is doing, drawing people together, knitting hearts together, drawing people closer to who he is. So you want to capture that transformation. There's really practical ways that you can take that from being this ethereal transformation broad word to really getting it down to nitty-gritty steps. For instance, making sure that you're capturing great photos of baptism happening at your church. That is an outward expression of the joy that Jesus has placed in somebody's heart. Baptism doesn't save you, but it is going public in your faith of Jesus Christ. So that is a great way to capture transformation. If your pastor does altar calls or does, hey, raise your hand if you want to give your life to Christ, that could be another great spot that you are setting up your photographers around the room to capture those hands being raised or people coming down to the front. Capture the transformation of your church. Thirdly, and by no means are these in order of importance, just the order that I put them in, but you want to capture the praise of your church, the worship of your church. Because remember, this isn't about us. This isn't about us looking good or come to my church because we're awesome. It's come to my church because Jesus is awesome. So we want to capture the praise and the worship of his name in everything that we're doing. Obviously, that's going to happen in musical moments, in worshipful moments, but it might also happen in little prayer moments where you're given an opportunity for people to come forward and receive prayer. You want to capture those moments and show people who are dedicated to Christ and who are exploding with the praise of his name and lifting up the glory of Jesus. So those are all really important things that you want to capture: the community of your church, the transformation that's happening in your church, and the praise and the worship of Jesus that's happening in your church. And then you want to use these things, you want to capture those stories because you want to tell the story of your church. Obviously, you all know the phrase that a picture speaks 1,000 words. If you can capture those moments, you need to share those moments and tell the story of your church. New people want to see what's going on. And your website is one of the places that people are going to go to first to learn about you. And if your website is just a ton of words, I'm sorry, no one's necessarily going to read that stuff right off the bat. It's important to have it there. It's important that people can learn more if they want to learn more. But what they're gonna do is they're gonna look around at pictures. Things that pop are gonna draw people's eye. And if you have captured the story of your church, you can now tell the story of your church, and people are able to see what is going on before they go and read all the words that you've put about it, what you believe, who you are, all that stuff. They want to see it. And that's a great way to do that, is to post pictures on your Facebook pages, on your social media, on your website. Obviously, make it an image-filled website so that people can see what's going on. We're also about to step into doing more videography so that we can post videos of the community. Do a good welcome video of your church. I know that we're not talking about video right now, but video is obviously a great way that people want to see it in action. So we're about to do a really good welcome video that shows the now of our church, what things look like these days. We're going to be working on that here really soon. And if you go to our website now, you'd see our top header on the homepage is a video of different elements of our church, what's going on around there and what's happening in those moments. And then we've got images all over the place that we're doing. And you want to store up these images for use in lots of different things. You may have graphics that you need to create that your graphics team needs images for. So the more images that you can store up as a team, then the more images your team has, your graphics team now has, to use the images from around your church rather than finding stock photography and all that. So we put out a graphic every week that displays the worship that we're going to be playing that week. And rather than sticking random graphics behind it now and random Google searched images, whatever it might be, I'm now getting to use images of our church in worship and putting those as the background behind these little infographics that I'm making showing what worship we're playing. But I'm getting to use our images now because we've invested in having people around the church shooting, capturing what's going on here. And I think that is more powerful than just random stock images that you might find around the place. So that's part one of this. The purpose of all this is to capture the story of your church and to tell the story of your church. And if your photographers can understand that that's what they're doing and that this is worship to Jesus, that their task that they're stepping into is a way that they get to engage in worship, let their artistry come through, and all of that will be made much more clear to them when they understand that they are doing this for Jesus and moving forward his kingdom, and that what they're a part of is not just a task, but that it is worshipful to Jesus and they're getting to use their gifts to serve him. Hope that was helpful to you. I'm coming back next time with part 2 of this and getting into a little bit more nitty gritty and some of the basics that might go along with this. I know you guys as photographers and all that may know this information, but it may be helpful to know even more about simple ways to capture your church. Have a fantastic week. Do all the things that YouTubers tell you to do. Subscribe, like, anything like that if you enjoyed this video. And we'll see you guys next time.